Welcome back, everyone, here to Bronx Talk. Today, got a very special video for you guys. We are going to be talking about the Yankees position battles this spring. There's obviously a few positions that the Yankees have position battles for. Some players trying to win over those positions. We obviously have the fifth starter spot, shortstop, and left field. So we're going to talk about it, give our insight on who we think will win the job, and just have a discussion about it. So, Christian, what do you got?
Well, the first one I think we should talk about is shortstop. I think it's the hot topic. Everyone wants to know who's going to be the opening day shortstop. And it's really between three guys. We have IKF, Anthony Volpe, and Oswald Peraza. Who's going to win? I think Oswald Peraza is definitely the favorite. Now, IKF was playing a majority of the games at short last year. Although keep in mind, he was just a stopgap waiting for the rookies to come up. Now that Oswald Peraza is probably ready, and we'll see if Anthony Volpe is ready by this spring, well, now one of them can take over. It's kind of just a matter of who. I think the Yankees are definitely leaning towards Oswald Peraza just because he's already played in the majors. Anthony Volpe only played, 20-something games in AAA. So I think they're definitely leaning towards Oswald Peraza. But listen, if Anthony Volpe keeps playing well in spring training, he's definitely making a case for himself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said before, I'm almost 100% convinced that Anthony Volpe is going to make his debut at some point this season and have a role on the 2023 Yankees. But for starting off the season, I'm not so sure he'll be the opening day shortstop just because Peraza has that experience. That's where he played last year. And he's just, I think, more fit at this point in time to get that job. Like you just said, Volpe's only played 20 something games in AAA. Peraza has that experience. And I think the Yankees are also leaning towards Peraza. I've heard a few people say it's Peraza's job to lose. Although I will say this, what we've seen from Anthony Volpe in spring training has been pretty good so far, especially the steals. He's stolen, what was the other day? He stole two bases on back-to-back
Yeah.
pitches.
Yeah.
And that's something the Yankees could really, really value and benefit from because in prior years, the Yankees have had guys that could come off the bench and steal a bag, Tyler Wade, Tim LaCastro, pitch runners, but they really haven't had someone in the lineup who's been a great base stealer, gets on base, automatic threat. And Anthony Volpe definitely could be that guy. And that could be a big, big plus for the Yankees if they get that in that lineup. Utilizing that speed and athleticism, I think could be a definitely big, big plus for the Yankees. And I think it's something the Yankees are looking forward to seeing. So if Volpe keeps it up, you never know. He could definitely win that job. And he's definitely competing for it right now as we speak.
100%. I'm rooting for both of them. I think the only way this could go wrong is if they have IKF starting at shortstop again. You have your top prospects, both shortstops, play one of them. That's the bottom line. The next position battle is for the number 5 spot in the rotation, with Frankie Montas now out for likely a majority of the season and possibly the entire season. It opens up the 5th spot. And look, the Yankees have a really good rotation. All right. So even if they get a slightly below average performance from whoever takes up that 5th spot, the rotation's still going to be fine. There's not a lot of pressure. However, they do have two guys who could take over and really excel, and that's Domingo Germán and Clark Schmidt. Domingo Germán, I think of him high upside, right? Now, if you look at his stats overall the past few years, they're not really going to jump off the paper, and he's kind of had some rough patches. I know last year there was a point where almost every Yankee fan was calling for him to be DFA'd. And later down in the season, later down the stretch, he kind of put it together. Look, I think it's his job to lose almost. I think the Yankees are probably going to go with him. Now, you have Clark Schmidt, who the Yankees tried to transform into a starter in the minors last year. I really think it's Domingo Germán's job to lose. Even if Clark Schmidt might be the better option, I think Domingo Germán's going to win it because I don't think he has any options left. So I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
mean,
that's his only spot almost.
Domingo Herman certainly has the experience. I think he made his debut in 2018, 2017. One of those years. He definitely has the experience. And he, like, when he comes to mind, you think of him as a fourth or fifth starter. He'll have some really, really good games where he'll take you deep in the ball game, seventh, eighth inning. His stuff will be dominant, and he'll have games where he's, looking not so great. But he's a typical fourth or fifth starter. He's going to get the job done. You know what you're going to get at a Domingo Herman. There's not really any question marks there. You know what you're going to get. He does have a little bit of upside, and he has that experience. So I would certainly be a fan of the Yankees going with Domingo Herman as the fifth starter, as well as Clark Schmidt. I would also like Clark Schmidt to be the fifth starter. I think Clark Schmidt has a really high upside. Um, Putting him in that fifth starter role, his game could definitely get better this year. And what we saw from him in spring training a few days ago, faced six batters, struck out five of them. He definitely has that stuff. Both of them do. So Christian, I really think the Yankees can't go wrong here either way. I like Domingo Herman as the fifth starter. I like Clark Schmidt as the fifth starter. I don't think the Yankees can go wrong either way. But I will say this: Domingo Herman, if you put him in that fifth starter role, Clark Schmidt is definitely more experienced to handle that kind of swingman role that the Yankees had him in last year, where he could spot start a game here, or he could come out of the bullpen, give you 3 innings, long relief guy, opposed to Domingo Herman. So I definitely think that may be a reason why the Yankees lead towards Domingo Herman. But if Clark Schmidt keeps it up this spring training, he definitely has a really good shot to be the fifth starter. I don't think the Yanks can go wrong here either way.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. And the last battle is for the left field position. This is mainly between Oswaldo Cabrera and Aaron Hicks. Then you also have some like depth pieces like Rafael Ortega, Willie Calhoun, even like a Billy McKinney that are kind of fighting for either a spot on the bench or a spot to play left field. So they're kind of fighting for that during spring training. However, I think it's mainly between Oswaldo Cabrera and Aaron Hicks. Look, I would go with Cabrera 10 out of 10 times, but I have a feeling Aaron Hicks is going to find his way in the lineup on opening day.
Listen, I'm not sure. I mean, I think they're going to split time. Honestly, a majority of the time. I think I said this last video. I think the Yankees are going to address left field at the trade deadline. I think they didn't like many of the guys in free agency. They weren't big fans of. So, I think they're going to address it at the trade deadline. But until then, I think Cabrera and Hicks are going to split time. If Hicks kind of struggles, then Cabrera is going to take over full time. I think that's kind of what it is. I don't think someone's just going to be win left field and play every day left field there. Cabrera's going to bounce around, going to be a utility player a little bit, probably play left field majority of the time, and so we'll see.